Hello and welcome to today's video on the Tyger. We're going to do some line-by-line analysis, particularly focused on those of you taking IGCSE English Literature. So, the Tyger. First of all, let's not worry too much about the spelling. So, William Blake chose here to use the Middle Ages spelling of the Tyger by using the Y, but obviously it still means a tiger. So, we have this symbol of a tiger used throughout the poem, where Blake is addressing, or the speaker of the poem is addressing a tiger. Now, the tiger in many ways symbolizes God's power in both a beautiful but also a fearful way. So Blake is speaking to the tiger in this poem, which is a technique called apostrophe. Apostrophe is when a speaker addresses something that can't respond. And Blake is questioning what kind of God could create something as beautiful but also as fearsome and deadly as a tiger. And in this poem, we also have an extended metaphor of God as a blacksmith, of something that forged this tiger from the flames. So it's a really powerful poem, where Blake is really, or the speaker, sorry, is really questioning, what is God? What is God like? How could God, create a world with both such beauty, but also such, terror and fear in it as well? Now, normally I would go straight into language. However, I think for this poem in particular, a lot of power and emphasis comes through the rhythm. So we're going to talk about this first. So first of all, the poem uses something called I can't say it, trochaic tetrameter. Now, a trochee is when you have two beats where the first one is stressed. Tiger, tiger. Okay, you may well in your studies have come across iambic pentameter, and iamb is when you have two beats where the second one is stressed. So, shall I compare the to a summer's day? You can hear in that line that each second beat is stressed, but a trochee is when you stress the first one. So all trochaic tetrameter is when you have four beats per line. Okay, and each kind of beat is made up of a stressed and then unstressed syllable. So tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night. Now, the reason why it's important to know this is this adds this real feeling of power and movement throughout the poem, and it also creates this feeling of a blacksmith hammering powerfully this metal to create this tiger. Now, every time I teach this poem, I always think about the scene from Lord of the Rings where they're in Isengard and all these kind of orcs are hammering, creating all these like deadly tools. That's really what this poem is about, where Blake is questioning what kind of God could create something like the tiger. It also has a very rigid rhyme scheme where it's just made up of rhyming couplets. Okay, so we've got this AABB rhyme scheme throughout. So we've got this sense of uniformity. And we also have a repeated use of plosives throughout. So a plosive is a hard sound like t, b, p. Okay, and we've got tiger, tiger, burning, bright. So all these things together create this real feeling of power and movement. And just remember that for those higher bands, you do need to be talking about language and structure and linking those ideas together. So there's loads you can do with this poem, talking about, how structure adds to that feeling of power and terror, possibly. So let's have a look at this first stanza. Okay, so it starts tiger, tiger, burning bright. Okay, so we've got that plosive alliteration here of the, those repeated t, b, b. So as we've discussed, we've got that feeling of power. And here Blake is using apostrophe where he is talking to a tiger, but the tiger can't respond. Okay, so this whole poem is him speaking to this being that doesn't respond. Now he addresses the tiger, and we've got that repetition, tiger, tiger, again adding to that feeling of power. This is something you can't just say once. It's tiger, tiger. It's got that power to it. Burning bright. Now we've got this pair of words here, burning bright, that in a way symbolizes the crux of the poem. So we've got burn, something fearsome, something powerful and potentially deadly, and bright, which focuses more, I guess, on like the beauty of like a fire. So the fact that the tiger is burning bright, you've got in just that phrase, you've got that idea of this terror and also this beauty. And they're kind of juxtaposed here, this burning bright. And that idea you'll see is carried on through the poem. Now, this tiger is in the forests of the night. So we've got this metaphor of the tiger, being in a forest, which, perhaps symbolizes or represents, um, evil, because it's nighttime. Nighttime often in literature symbolizes something evil, something unknown. And certainly this is unknown to Blake. He's questioning in this poem. So, we've got this metaphor of the forest being almost somewhere dark and evil. This is a creature of the night. And then Blake questions, what immortal hand or eye? So what God could frame here means kind of create thy fearful symmetry. So again, we've got that kind of almost oxymoron here, fearful, which fearful is, scary. Symmetry is often kind of linked to beauty. So again, we've got fearsome beauty. So you can see how even from stanza 1, this whole idea of this tiger being both beautiful and fearsome is coming through. And we've got this rhetorical question that the speaker is addressing to this tiger. And you'll see as we go through the poem, those questions keep building. Okay, and that really creates a feeling of kind of confusion or maybe desperation from the speaker. So the next stanza, in what distant deeps or skies? So again, we've got that plosive alliteration, distant deeps. So wherever this creator is that created the tiger, it's distant, it's far away. Okay, it's something again that isn't close enough for the speaker to understand. But then we have this juxtaposition between deeps, something really, really far below, or skies, something up above. And, this potentially is a symbol of deep being hell versus heaven. And I think that again really encapsulates what the speaker is questioning. Like, is this God good? Is God good? Does God create this beauty of the tiger? But yet, how did it create evil? And that's a question that many people who believe in God have to kind of grapple with. If God is good, how did God create evil? And that's a question that kind of philosophers and people are kind of always questioning. And Blake is no different here. So what this, questioning is this a good God? Is this an evil God? And again, we've got burnt the fire of thine eyes. So talking to the tiger, what where was the fire put into your eyes? So again, we've got the beauty, but the terror of fire. On what wings dare he aspire? So, what powers was God using? And I think the verb dare here is interesting. It's like, how could God dare to create you? What God had the confidence, what God had the kind of guts to create something like you, tiger? And then what hand dare seize the fire? So we've got that repetition of dare. How could God do this? How did he have the confidence to do this? To seize the fire to put in your eyes and, and create you, tiger. And you can see again, we've got kind of this building of rhetorical questions. So again, creating this real tone of desperation, confusion, shock. Then we've got, and what shoulder and what art could twist the sinews of thy heart? So I think the shoulder here, perhaps represents the strength. So how could God be strong enough? And then the art is like, well, almost like God's creativity. So what kind of God has both the strength, but also the creativity to create something as beautiful and fearsome as the tiger? And twist is this quite powerful verb. If you imagine twisting metal, that takes immense strength. So what kind of God could twist the sinews of the heart of the tiger? Okay, and maybe the heart of the tiger is like, the core of who it is as both a beautiful, majestic, deadly creature. And when thy heart began to beat, and again, we've got that plosive alliteration, began to beat, adding to that feeling of power that continues throughout the whole poem. What dread hand? So dread here means fearsome. but the speaker's not talking about the tiger. The speaker's talking about God. So that adjective dread here is about, well, this fearsome God. What kind of fearsome hand could create this? What kind of fearsome feet? So that repetition of dread shows that the speaker is fearful of God. And you can see again, we've got these rhetorical questions that keep building in intensity here. Now he then asks again, what the hammer, what the chain, in what furnace was thy brain? So all these questions of how God could create the tiger. What the anvil? So the anvil is that bit of metal you'll see in that image that the blacksmith has there. The anvil has to be a very, very, very strong metal structure or table, because it has to be strong, because the blacksmith hammers and hammers and hammers on it, and it hammers kind of molten metal to form some kind of shape. So again, the speaker's confused, like what has the strength for this? Where does the strength come from? We've then got the repetition of dread. So again, that idea of fear. What dread grasp dare its deadly terrors clasp? So first of all, we've got that kind of internal rhyme of dread and deadly. So that adds emphasis to both of them, that this God is, both dread, creating something deadly. So creates that emphasis there. We've also got that repetition from previous stanzas of dare. So we get this real feeling that the speaker just can't get their head around the fact that God could create something so, powerful and beautiful. Then it goes on, when the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears. So we've got this personification here of the stars throwing down their spears. So almost this idea that the stars were, well, first of all, devastated. They're so devastated that they watered heaven. That kind of, we've got hyperbole there, that real exaggeration. Their tears watered heaven. So first of all, the stars are kind of devastated by the creation of this tiger, but they're also, attacking. They threw down their spears. They tried to stop this. So we've almost got this idea of cosmic rebellion, that actually other kind of, spiritual beings kind of had to, try to fight against God, but God is so powerful that they couldn't. And then more questions. Did he smile his work to see? Like, is this kind of some kind of sadistic God that is happy to see this deadly thing that they've created? And then, did he who make the lamb make thee? Now, in the Christian Bible, the lamb is a metaphor for Jesus. So the speaker here is questioning, how could something create? Jesus, who in the Christian religion is the savior of humankind, gave his life to save humankind. How could someone create something as perfect as Jesus and also create the tiger? So again, we've got this feeling that the speaker is really grappling with these big spiritual questions here. Then we end the poem with the same stanza as the beginning. So we've got a cyclical structure. So everything we said at the beginning obviously still applies. There's this feeling of power, tiger, burning bright. Again, we talked about the burning being both fearsome but also bright and beautiful. In the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry? So the only difference between stanza 1 and stanza, this final stanza, is in stanza 1, it's what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry, whereas now it's changed to dare. So at the beginning of the poem, the speaker's talking about, how are you capable? And now by the end of the poem, the speaker's acknowledged that yes, this God is powerful enough, but how dare you? How could you do this? Like, how were you not terrified to do this? What were you thinking? I guess kind of. So we've got this cyclical structure. And what we find out is that the speaker, despite all these questions, they have no answers. They've reached the end of the poem and they've gone back to the beginning because they cannot fathom the answers to these questions. So you'll see loads and loads of great things you could analyse in this poem. It's honestly one of my favourites. I think it's brilliant. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be putting up more videos, so let me know what kind of videos you'd like for your literature revision, and I will do my best. I always try to take into account what you would like to see. Please do subscribe, comment, let me know your questions. I'll do my best to answer them and see you on the next video.